consolidate some numbers during this review because we have year-end numbers to provide you, and we're comparing those year-end numbers to 2010. So the 2011 end-of-year UCR crime report, UCR stands for Uniform Crime Report, is what we tally here and send off to the state, which we send it to the FBI. Violent crime is down 18.42% compared to 2010, so 2011 compared to 2010. Nonviolent crime is down just about 11%. Crime index is down 12.2%. And this is raw data, it's not crime rate. We do not have the census data just yet. We probably won't get it until April's our guess. So this is not crime rate. This is actual apples to apples, oranges to oranges comparison of raw data. UCR crime by category, we track 7. There's actually 8, but the other one's arson. It's done through the fire department marshals, fire marshals. The 7 categories we do track are murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny, and vehicle theft. And these are your Part 1 crimes. We had 3 additional cases in 2011 compared to 2010, so that those 3 additional cases raised it 25%. And you see on the remaining categories, they're all in a negative number. Rape down 24.18%, robbery down over 35%, aggravated assaults down over 11%, burglaries are down just under 2%, larcenies are down under just over 15.4%, and vehicle thefts down 21.7%. So a lot of double-digit decline, which is really good news for the community. No crime from the victim's perspective is acceptable, but and we understand and relate to that. But comparatively speaking, it's good news. Calls for service for 2011, 161,936. That's how many events, if you will, the police officers are engaged in at any given time throughout the course of the year. That's up 2.73% from 2010. Citations written, they're down about 3.89%. It's 23,613. While they are down, our school zone activity enforcement increased nearly 40%, which is pretty good. Loud noise dropped 45% down at 396. And a lot of that is when we run those special details with deployments and everything. There's an educational lab that we offer the military, kind of get the message out from the combat zone or some other deployment. We let them kind of bring the people back up to speed, and that's just a courtesy that we've historically done. That's not the only reason. And also, the more compliance you get, the number should actually drop. So that's a good news for there. Traffic accidents have declined in 2011 compared to 2010 by 23.8%. Pretty good drop in that. Warrant service, Class B and above, that's predominantly what the PD serves. We had Class C's as well, but that's kind of mixed into the marshal service, kind of hard to track. But Class B's and above, we have an 8.16% increase in the service of those warrants. There are some changes. One specific change I want to highlight, there is a new definition for rape. Right now, we're under an old, I'll say right now, as of prior to last week, we were under a 1927 definition of what sexual assault or rape, if you will, was by the FBI. That 1927 definition does not include most sexual assaults that everyone in this room, the average citizen, would consider a sexual assault or rape. So this new definition does include any kind of non-consensual penetration and allows both genders to be a suspect or a victim. Quite frankly, if a man got raped by another man, for example, that would not be considered a sexual assault. Another good example is the Penn State assistant coach, Sedansky, I believe his name is. There are like 40 cases on him, rape of children. That would not be considered a rape under the old definition. The new one it will. So it is something that's long overdue. There was an advisory group that studied it and recommended it, and the Department of Justice went ahead and accepted that new definition. It could take several years for law enforcement agencies across the nation. There's nearly 18,000 of them to bring that definition, not only the definition to where it's being, where your crime is being accounted for in that sense, but everybody's got an automated system. Some are real automated like we are, and some of them in more rural setting may not have that automation. So it may take several years for all agencies in the United States, all 18,000 of them, to bring that count to where it should be. We expect also around January 2013, it's our guess, it's really just a guess, that the Department of Justice will say, as of this date, you will count it. It's voluntary, but they'll still give us the guidelines and how they want it, if you will, processed through the system. So we do expect that to occur. But we're going to be mindful of it, but they just came out with this like January, first part of January 6th, I believe. That's what it shows. So give them a little bit of time to kind of get things in order, housekeeping in order, and we'll start tracking it. There are some drawbacks to that, and the impact is going to be some positive, some negative. The more we know about what crimes occurring in Part 1 crimes, the more attention can be brought to it, and better community awareness will allow for more focused response to combat the problem. If you think about all the sexual assaults of children, women on women, men on men, what have you, combine it all together, your rates will go up considerably compared to where they are today. Not just in Killeen, but that's nationwide. So that broader definition will significantly increase the number of reported rates for all communities across the nation. So, and will that occur this year? Doubtful. It will probably start showing up, being counted for 2013, and it will probably be released. It will be released by us quarterly, but it will not show up nationwide for comparison until probably January 2014, I'm assuming. But we'll wait and take guidance from DOJ on that. The only other thing is the news release for the crime information I just gave you on the percentages. Of course, along with the raw data that was released to the media this afternoon, late after this afternoon, so that's out there. And we have the answering questions.
Any questions?
One question.
When
you had a slide there that talked about traffic accidents. I guess we see a difference in those traffic accidents really depending on the storm events.
No, actually, to tell you the truth, where we started seeing those really decline is the placement of the red light cameras. We took the most dangerous intersections in Killeen, the top 10, and replaced those cameras and the most dangerous of those. And so there's a lot of traffic going through there. And whether we're standing there catching or not, that camera's going to flash and it's going to get you notified that you run a red light. And while I can't definitively say that's it, we did start seeing that number go down once those cameras went in. Once we started advertising it, it was almost within a very short period of time we started seeing a decline, and it continued since we started that program. And where it will eventually bottom out, I can't tell you, but it's good news because it lowers your insurance rates and what have you overall in time.
Question. So let me go over there or here?
You can do it right there.
Okay. I go to Lions Park Senior Citizen Center quite a little bit. They've done a lot of work out there with the new walking trails and so on, and they put up stoplights, and the stoplights have sat there now for at least a month or more. I wondered if you can tell us when they're going to start working.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
There is a, and we put it out the last community forum we had, I think it was last month we put it out. There is a new signal light going there, unlike previous lights you've seen. It's actually got a left turn arrow.
Good.
And that is something that's new to Killeen. That's one, I think, of 2 intersections we're looking at. 4, well, 2 right now, I think, that one and one other. But eventually all, let me go ahead so everybody can hear, all intersection, any kind of lights that are switched out at intersections have to be, if it's involved left turn, they have to have this new left turn signal, 1. And any new construction projects will include that kind of lighting system. And it's something at the national level that the states have to adopt. So that's the new thing coming. That's one thing I want to say. And the second thing is, it shouldn't be too much further. I don't actually control that at the police level. That's actually TxDOT, but I would, or that would be TxDOT, I believe. That's just something that they should be activating before long. But remember, it's a very unusual light, and we have it on our website, I believe, and we'll go ahead and do another blast to the media about that particular light. And there's some challenges to it, because while it's a little confusing to start with, it's something that in the long term they say will actually reduce accidents involving left turns. So I don't know the timeline. I will try to find that out and get you word. And if they can't give me that, at least I can tell you that it's near term, not long term.
Good, thank you.
Chief, I think they're, George was talking about mid-February. TxDOT still had a couple of things they had to do, then we have that awareness campaign and we'll get it out. And we will be briefing out these senior centers as well.
Thank you.
So it's near term, so, okay.
Yes, there was significant decline in arrest for violent, nonviolent crime, but you still had an increase in the number of contacts and service requests. Can you characterize the nature of those additional
Right.
service requests?
Calls for service is what I was referring to, an increase. That could be anything from, that's officer activity. It could be because he or she's out of the car checking a building. It could be because a pedestrian had stopped and wants to ask him some questions. It's police activity, police contacts, if you will. And that does not necessarily equate to crime. It just means that there's just a lot of activity between the police department in events, not necessarily crime events. As we just talked about, the actual crime is down. But it could be traffic accidents, it could be private property accidents where there's no accident report actually filed. But that would be a good example of calls for service, when an officer goes out, exchanges information, and leaves. And it's up to them to file with their respective insurance agents. Yes, sir.
Sure. Question as far as the contacts, like he was following up on there, is those officers who are working at private businesses, do those contacts involved in that count, or are those differentiated out? And just say like the officer's at X and then he walks outside and somebody calls him for an actual event outside of that property's business to which he's being taken care of.
Are we talking about uniform?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If they're in uniform, generally speaking, no, but it could very easily equate to a call for service. If for some reason, let's just use an example, Dillard's, and I'm an officer working Dillard's, and I happen to see a shoplifting in progress. By me taking action on that, that will result in a call for service going up. It will show a crime rate, or will show in our crime stats as far as the theft, the larceny, that's what would be considered a theft. So yeah, it would capture it in that sense. But if the manager asked me to go and ask people to kind of move from one area at the front of the entranceway and kind of move people along, that wouldn't show up as an actual police contact. So yes, it could, but most likely it probably wouldn't. Okay. Thank you, sir. Eddie?